When I read Chrysalis Book 1, The Ant Venture Begins, I thought to myself, I can't believe a series about a guy getting reincarnated as an ant is good. When I read Book 2, I thought, I can't believe it gets better. The question is, how do I even begin to explain this to the average reader? Yes, he's an actual ant, but hear me out.
No fluff writing advice. Cut the fluff!
First, let's discuss all the good bits of Chrysalis Book 2 before we move on to the bad. Don't worry, I won't say anything too antagonistic. I'm not anti-Chrysalis at all. I'm actually anticipating reading Book 3. Alright, now that we've got all the ant puns out of the way, let's get down to business. Firstly, Upping the Ante has some solid and consistent humour throughout. Fat-shaming dungeon monsters is pretty funny. Look, overall it is clean humour and the author doesn't take many big swings, but there are plenty of ha-ha moments sprinkled throughout, which are only enhanced by the narration. Yes, Jeff Hayes kills it again, utterly slaughters it. Co-slaughterer Annie Ellicott does the female voices, and the dual narration, it's a nice touch. I personally want to see more of it. I do wonder if Anthony's voice is inspired by sketchy Jesus wannabe Russell Brand. I'm not entirely convinced it's not Russell Brand. I mean, surely all Englishmen don't sound like that. Or do they? Maybe. I love that Book 2 provides a change of scenery and shifts the dynamics between the colony and the human population. There's something oddly hilarious about ant monsters mingling with humans. Overall, the story feels fresh when it could have easily got bogged down with endless dungeon crawling. Nothing wrong with dungeon crawling, but who wants to crawl forever? Sometimes, well, most of the time really, you gotta stand up and walk, run, scuttle, whatever ants do, dash! Also, just as I was thinking the somewhat solo situation with Anthony was wearing thin, I mean, for a while his only conversation companions are the Queen and Tiny. Yeah, not great. But the author RinoZ, or is it RinoZ or Rhinos? Maybe I'm completely off and it's RinoZ. I never know with some of these pen names. Anyway, in my opinion, the author brings in more conversation capable characters at the right time. It's also great to see a protagonist with clear goals. Everything Anthony does is for the colony. I never thought I'd care so much about a colony of ants, a colony of fictional ants. What is happening to me? Plenty of tense moments, twists and turns. By the way, how high is Anthony's cunning? I zone out during the stat reads, and he does genuinely seem to be getting smarter. How long until he's more cunning than the author? What do you do then when your own character can outsmart you? How do you even write that? Just something I think about. I also appreciate how Anthony's technical class is all over the place. You never know what he's going to get up to with his skill choices. Is he an ant warrior, an ant mage, or a beast master with all those pets he's been collecting? Just yes all round. Anthony's growing menagerie is a nice addition to the story. All of his companions are adorable in their own way. Seeing not just their personalities, but also their intelligence develop raises some interesting questions about the nature of dungeon monsters. They seem to have minds of their own, some tinier than others. It feels like I've got nothing but praise for this book, and I haven't even mentioned the most praiseworthy element, the system. I'm less than a year into my lit RPG journey, but so far Chrysalis has the most creative and, dare I say, complex system I've come across. Collecting biomass, reinforcing cores, reconstituting cores, core surgery, mana manipulation. I mean, the guy, the ant, even designs his own spells, doesn't even seem to know what they do until he unleashes them. It's brilliant. Seriously, one of the most compelling systems I've seen so far. Alright, that's enough praise. This book can't be perfect, can it? No, it can't. And it isn't. One big issue with Chrysalis Book 2 is the pacing. There's a lot of tedious leveling and biomass gathering. It's not like those scenes are entirely pointless, but I don't want to continuously read about the ant monster equivalent of going to the supermarket on a really busy day when all the other customers are deranged, violent, and bloodthirsty. Actually, maybe I do. Look, it just got a little too tedious for me. There are also quite a few unapologetic info dumps. Yeah, they seem to be a staple of the genre, a mandatory ingredient, but that doesn't make them any easier to swallow. I'll also mention my hope for book 3 is we get a clear antagonist for Anthony and the colony to go head to head with. Right now, it's not entirely clear who the antagonist is. Is it the commander of the Legion, Garalosh, Gandalf? I don't know. Also, book 1 and book 2 both end in weird places. It's like, huh? It's over? That doesn't feel like a complete and satisfying conclusion. I know it's likely due to the nature of how the series was originally published on Royal Road, and in this case, I actually forgive the author. Why? Because the first 3 books come in a bundle. If I bought them separately, I might be genuinely miffed, but I didn't, so it's all good. I can start book 3 whenever I want and just pick up where I left off. I haven't bought book 4 yet, so hopefully book 3 doesn't miff me. Now for my biggest gripe with Chrysalis book 2. So, hear me out. The ants communicate with pheromones, yeah? Makes sense. When Vibrant starts talking, Anthony describes her pheromones as squeaky, and the narrator does speak with a squeaky voice. How can pheromones be squeaky? Guy gets reincarnated as a dungeon ant monster, fine, but squeaky pheromones? No way, I'm not buying it. Anyway, what a fun series. At this stage, I'm not sure if I'm on Team Human or Team Ant. Honestly, I think I'm for the colony. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy this video, hit subscribe anyway and hate watch my content. That's always fun.